before state and national news stations arrived in South Georgia. We published what others refussed to see as news. So we connect the dots, the Ghetto Free Press, and created a historic archival record that cannot be ignored. Moreover, our God ordained us to keep his bread fresh as in St. John 8:32, St. Matthew 2400 hours 35. Therefore, we had to connect the dots, as you will see on the People's YouTube channel Boast Over. Joel 2 verse 1 G.B.R. The American I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson, black, plus much more, as you will see.
The modern mind shape. So hey, will Jacob wake up the line? He's in Judah sleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever hold your peace. The violence of this beast must cease. Look out, I see your line.
Greetings. I'm George Boston Rhymes, the Get to Free Press. I'm in a unique, awkward situation here today. I'm in Douglas, Georgia with Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson. And I just left out of a meeting with some reporters, one from New York, another one from Atlanta. And while I was over here, I asked the Commissioner, could I just do a minute or two interview and let her recap on what was discussed today. But prior to getting her on the camera here, it is sad, very sad, that we live here in Southwest and Southeast Georgia, and our local news media outlets, the newspapers, the TV stations, and the radio stations will not give us the news coverage that is fair and balanced. We have to go out of town, or people outside of our area see the work that we are doing, and they come in and ask us, will you consent to an interview? You see, they don't want our story to be known here in South Georgia, but God has a ram in the bush. That's what I think happened to Olivia Coley-Pearson. So let's turn the camera on her, and we just want to ask her a few questions about what happened today. How you doing today?
Hi, Mr. Rhines. I'm great. How are you?
Fine. I came over here today because you told me that some people was coming to interview you, and I know that you have had people from Al Parson National Action Network, with the President of the state of Georgia, the late Sarah Hunt. You have had 11 Alive Action News, and you've had just a lot of publicity from outside. But probably like me, the local news media, TV stations, and radio, they don't hardly give you nor me the coverage that we need. But thank God for those people from out of town.
How you doing, folks? Andy Prady here with the 11 Alive Investigators. Let me tell you about a story that is starting to develop that we are working on right now. You may have heard about claims of voter suppression in Georgia and the Secretary of State's office getting sued for putting voter registrations on hold. Well, let me tell you about details about voter intimidation you may not have heard yet. I bet you haven't heard yet. It involves a grandmother in Georgia who almost went to prison for assisting a voter.
I know you before you started.
We go back a long way. We were next door neighbors.
She's not on this year's ballot, but it's easy to see why Olivia Coley-Pearson has served 19 years on Douglas City Council, unopposed.
So we all go way back.
She knows her constituents.
Thank you, sweetie.
While popular in her district, Coley-Pearson's toughest political battle happened last year. Not on city council.
You committed false swearing, did you?
No, sir.
But in a Coffee County courtroom facing felony charges.
Not true.
It started with a complaint filed with the Georgia Secretary of State's office. The claim, illegally assisting voters in 2012. Listen to an audio recording between a state investigator and a voter Coley Pearson helped.
Do you know why Miss Pearson signed the back of the vote certificate that she was assisting you?
Because I didn't know what to do, what I ought to do.
Was that the first time using the machine?
Yeah, that was my first time.
At the end there where you have to push the button to cast your ballot, who pushed that?
Me.
And that's what happened. That's what I was criminally charged for in terms of assisting a voter.
Were you on the ballot?
No.
Here we go again.
Reverend Rudolph Porter is a local pastor.
If she could have gone to prison for that, I guarantee you could serve all the hot dogs, the hamburgers, the Coca-Colas in the world. People wouldn't have gone to the polls ever again in this county if she would have been found guilty.
They would have been that afraid to go.
Absolutely. In fact, I would have started voting absentee.
How's it going?
The American I Remain focused on Douglas and coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
Tell me what this little gathering today was about that we just left. And they had the big lights on you today. And they had the big cameras on you. Give us your name, what you do, and what was this meeting all about today?
Thank you, Mr. Rhines, again. I am Olivia Coley Pearson. What I do is I get out the vote in Douglas, Coffee County, Georgia, and all across the state of Georgia, talking to everybody I can talk to about the importance of getting out and going to vote. And if you can't get out to go vote, you can have you an absentee ballot mailed to you, but most importantly, have your vote cast. So that's what I do. I serve on the city council, been serving for 23 years here in Douglas, Georgia. First black woman to be elected to city government in Douglas, Georgia. I'm a part of Black Voters Matter, as well as Southern Rural Black Women's Initiative for Economic and Social Justice. So I am just the go-to person in Douglas, Coffee County to get the vote out, whatever we can do to empower our people who are not empowered, who are less empowered, who are less fortunate, who need to know, who need information. I'm trying to be that person.
The lady that came from Washington, D.C. today, thank you for those comments. But the lady that came from Washington, D.C., I thought she was very thorough. She was very professional. And she even asked you about there's an article I understand in the Washington Post, something about here in Coffee County. Mm-hmm. And you had your problem with the lady here in Coffee County. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you already said in that interview today? Tell me about what happened to you with this same individual in terms of, I saw this on Rachel Maddow, where there's a possibility supervisor lady, everybody came into the election office here. Talk to me.
Yes, sir. That's exactly right, Mr. Ryan. So, the run-in that I had with the lady here in Coffee County, Douglas, Georgia, the lady's name is Misty Hayes Hampton. She has served as election supervisor for Coffee County for the past few years. Well, Misty has made it her business while she was the supervisor to accuse me of voter fraud. She served as the assistant prosecutor in fraudulent charges against me in the 2016 election, saying voter fraud was committed by me assisting a first-time voter. However, we all know how that story goes. I was acquitted. The first time it was a mistrial. The district attorney and Mr. decided that they wasn't satisfied with that. When that voter testified and said, I did not tell her who to vote for, I did not touch her machine, I committed fraud in no way, but yet even with the mistrial, they chose to still prosecute and have a second trial against me. My attorneys from Southern Center for Human Rights got that trial, the change of venue, to Jessup, I was about to say Glenn County, Wayne County, Georgia. And where those electors, jurors, went back in the jury chambers, and in less than 20 minutes came out with a unanimous not guilty verdict.
The American I Remain focused on Douglas and coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
Then after that, which was 2018, and when we finally went to trial, in 2020, during the presidential election of where Biden defeated Trump, October, don't recall the date, but October of 2020, I was carrying people to the polls, as I have been doing since coming back to Douglas from Clark College in Atlanta, carrying people to the poll. On this particular day, the same lady, Misty Hayes Hampton, decided to call the police and say that I was criminally trespassing. Okay? Criminally trespassing. When I asked her, before the officers put me in the car, how was I criminally trespassing? She said I hollered at her. But yet, the person I was assisting has gave testimony, sworn testimony, that Misty initiated hollering. And I did not holler at her until I was almost out the door, right at the door. And when she said something that was a big lie, as she has constantly done, and it pissed me off, and I hollered at her at that point and told her she was lying. So we went on to actually went to have it a disposition on that, and so the solicitor was like, well, as long as you don't touch anybody's equipment between now and December, well, all of this will be dismissed. But the fact of the matter remains, I was arrested unjustly for no reason, because of animosity that Misty had or has in her heart towards me. Now, as a result, we all know that the Washington Post, the Daily Beast, the New York Times, all CNN, all of these stations are covering where Misty Hayes Hampton allowed some people to come into the Board of Elections and copy voting equipment, information that is supposed to be confidential. But she allowed that to happen. All the time she was putting lies on me, her fingers point back to her, that she is actually the one who has been doing something illegal and out of her authority. But she's no longer the supervisor because she was forced to resign for stealing time.
2 months after the 2020 election, a team of computer experts went down to Coffee County and visited the county elections office to copy software and data from elections equipment. The Secretary of State's office in Georgia has called this an alleged unauthorized access of elections equipment. In the video footage from a security camera outside the Coffee County elections office, we see this team of computer experts arriving at the Coffee County elections office on January 7th, 2021. And we see them being welcomed by Kathy Latham, who at the time was the chair of the Coffee County Republican Party. We see in the video Doug Logan and Jeff Lindbergh arriving at the Coffee County elections office. Doug Logan was the founder of Cyber Ninjas, which had been involved in an ultimately discredited audit of the election results in Arizona. Both men were involved in efforts to challenge the results of the 2020 presidential election. We see Doug Logan and Jeff Lindbergh arriving around 4 p.m. on January 18th, 2021, and that was Martin Luther King Day. The Coffee County elections office was actually closed at the time, and the woman who was the elections director at the time for the county, Misty Hampton, let the two of them in around 4 p.m. and they stayed there until around 8 p.m. The video also shows that the two of them returned the next day, and it appears as if they were there for about 9 hours that day. This alleged breach of election equipment in Coffee County has caught the eye of Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis, who is currently investigating whether former President Donald Trump and his allies illegally tried to influence the election in Georgia. Emails and other records have shown that Sidney Powell and other lawyers who were allied with President Trump helped arrange for the team of computer experts to travel to Coffee County on January 7th, 2021. The Secretary of State's office has said that they opened an investigation into this alleged breach in mid-March. Last month, they asked the Georgia Bureau of Investigation to assist in that investigation.
So, the Lord has a way, karma has a way. When you call yourself trying to do dirt to someone, it comes out, the dirt that you're doing yourself. So that's what that is about. It's a big investigation going on against Miss Misty Hayes Hampton and I think the former chairperson of the Republican Party, Kathy Latham, and I think they might have even named the Board of Elections chairperson, Cheney, Eric Cheney. So that's what that is about.
Coffee County now has a new election supervisor after the Board of Elections say they forced the former one to resign. WLB News 10's Gabrielle Ware takes a closer look at what led up to that decision.
James Barnes tells me he became the new county's election supervisor this month. The former election supervisor, Misty Martin, and former elections assistant, Jill Reidelhoover, resigned in February. The board says the two did this to avoid being fired. This comes 2 months after the board was unable to certify their recount results in the 2020 presidential election. The Secretary of State's office launched an investigation after that. They said in part, quote, every other county was able to complete this task within the given time limits. And despite that investigation's timing, we actually found out that the resignations were due to falsifying timesheets. And so Board Chair Ernestine Thomas Clark said the Board of Elections and Registrations Office resumed operations the 1st of this month. She said they plan to hire an assistant election supervisor by May 15th. And Barnes tells me that they're going to start working on filling that role, or they'll have that role filled by May 15th. Live in the newsroom, I'm Gabrielle Ware, WALB News 10.
And the strange thing is, Mr. Rhines, and I'm going to stop in case you have another question. Seems as though to me, the citizens of Coffee County are not talking about it. I don't think I've heard very much about it at all. I haven't seen it in the Douglas Enterprise. As far as I know, I haven't seen nobody has contacted me saying Douglas Now has covered it. They're trying to keep that quiet, hush, hush. But when I was falsely accused, you couldn't beat Douglas Now and so many others from scandalizing my name.
CNN has obtained footage showing a fake Trump elector escorting operatives into an elections office in Coffee County, Georgia, where that same day there was evidence that their voting system was in fact breached. So we're going to show you the video and then I'll fill in all the details.
This is Kathy Latham we're showing you. She's the former chairwoman of Coffee County GOP. Already under investigation, this woman is, for posing as one of those fake electors who signed documents that declared Donald Trump was the winner of the 2020 election. Latham can be seen here escorting a team of pro-Trump operatives into the Coffee County Elections Office, including an IT specialist who was working with Trump attorney Sidney Powell. This all happens on the same day the voting system.
lion. He's in Judah asleep. I wonder who will wake him, bring him to his feet. Speak now or forever.
At this time, I will now turn it over to Mr. Bobby Worthy, and he can give introductions for.
And he will do what no other power but holy power can do.
If y'all know the truth, you can clap to him. You ain't just got to take pictures.
Listen, we're not here to degrade the media.
We ain't degrading
All
nobody.
right, we're here to make a statement. So understand that. I mean, I know how you feel, but y'all look at these people. Are y'all scared? Huh? Do they look like killers to y'all? No. Come look at them, man. I am really scared. But before I address this, let me introduce myself. My name is Bobby Worthy. As y'all know, when you put it all over the paper, I have petitioned the court to change my name to Adil Mustafa's Muhammad. Because I said in the media that I was going to get rid of my slave master name. Believe me, Bobby Worthy is not my ancestor's name. To clear that up.
The American I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
I work with them. I live with them. I slept with them. And when it comes to the United States military or this country as a whole, I think one of the best things they can do in the world for this country is to institute a national service so we can really have a melting pot. You know, I learned more about folk when I went in the military. I learned more about it. And I'm not saying the national service should be military. Do a whole lot of service. When people are integrated, when people serve people in worse shape than they are, when people do things to promote the country, the world, they're better people for it. And they don't think like other people. And they don't do things like other people. Amen. Because the eyes are closed. That's what I want to introduce.
My name is Patricia Lassiter, veteran of the U.S. Army. Y'all put in here on the second page that we believe in burning of the flag and stuff like that. When I went out there and I served my country, plead the oath, raise my right hand to support not this one, everybody. To support my country, but I don't mind burning the flag. It really upsets me with all the lies in here. And I would appreciate if y'all would, as the media, straighten it out. Say our training consists of, yes, I had some of this training in the military, but this is not what we do in our media. We're concerned about our community, and there's a lot of problems, but we got to start somewhere. Yeah, we got children out here. We got children on drugs. They got mileage, flopper, all kinds of stuff. We need to solve what is going on with our community. How can we make our community better? How can we get these men to stand up? Get them educated. We need men back in our home. The struggle is real. Y'all done heard the saying, the struggle is real in the black community. And it's in some of y'all, but we trying to figure out a way, and y'all switch and turn it and call us a militant organization. I really don't appreciate it. I'm upset with y'all. Don't hate none of y'all. That's right. But I'm disappointed in y'all. Very disappointed right now.
Yes, I'm Crystal Wynn. I'm Crystal Wynn, a parent of 3. Also, my children's father, my husband, is almost 20 years Army National Guard, okay? E7. And that's the disgrace just off the top. Not only did you put myself in danger, but you put my children's life in danger for someone to think that I'm a part of a militant organization at any given time. Had anybody wanted, they could have come and attacked me and my children. You know, you guys don't think about, you obviously didn't think about it when you printed it. Because as I was told, you know, nobody's gonna know I know who I was when I walked in and picked up the paper. I knew exactly who I was. And I'm not affiliated nor am I a part of any of this. Do I have a little ill will? Yeah. But I'm gonna pray about it and I'm gonna give it to God because this battle is not mine. And that's all I have to say. May God bless each and every one of you. Oh, also, one more thing. My job. Being that I am the face of my organization, I am an outreach coordinator. If I didn't have the wonderful supervisors and the CFOs and the CEOs that I do have in my organization, I would be without a job until I can get this mess cleared up. But by the grace of God, because I know who's the head of my life, and who handles and wakes me up every day, me and my children, and that's my son that's back there who's 8 years old. This is what you could have done. I have children to feed. I have bills to pay. But nobody can consult me and ask me anything. You understand what I'm saying? But now you want to figure out what you can do now. As I say, I'm a hush because I do get angry and Lord is still working with me. You understand what I'm saying? But it's wrong. And for anybody to sit up here and think there's anything right about what you guys have done, put us in a militant organization, that's really a division. And that, to me, is racial alone. Alone. And again, may God bless y'all, be with y'all, and I'm going to pray for y'all.
My name is Minister Tracy Toombs Brockington. I'm going to speak on behalf of my daughter. That picture was in the paper, and my son-in-law, whose picture was also in the paper. They was there that Saturday during the meeting because I was in the hospital. The reason why I'm going to speak for them because they shouldn't speak because I'm the one who had them to go to the meeting to see what was being said about young people. The community trying to help the young people get involved because of the law around here is so crooked with our young people. We got police stopping the young kids for no reason and doing all kind of stuff to the young people. And for y'all to put that in the paper and my daughter go to school, this is her last year in school. I didn't know it was in the paper until I got a phone call about it was in the paper. And then she came home Friday and was talking to me about that her teacher, not one but two of her teachers, catch this, both of them are white. They showed her the picture in the paper. She had white friends at school. He had white friends. He's half white. I have a white auntie. My daughter, this is her last year in school. Now this right here could harm her. You can't tell me it won't. I know Coffee County. I know people's in Coffee County. I know people's everywhere else and how they deal with situations. See, this stuff right here could jeopardize my daughter for getting her diploma this year. And which I pray to God it don't, because like I said, I'm a minister. I'm a woman of God. I live by God. Wherever I go, I take God with me. God is in my house. God is around me. I don't have to fight a battle when I know God can fight it for me. But I said, I don't like it anymore. I read the paper. I don't like it. Because this is my baby. I only have two. This is my baby. And y'all done made her look bad. You don't have her name, but you got a picture on front. Not only for her friends to see, she can try to get a job. She can go get a job and they probably say, I can't hire you. Ain't you the one in that group that's saying something about white people? Then she at school, around white people, got white teachers, got white friends. I don't want to hang with you because ain't you in that group that don't like white people? That's not right. And it hurt me to my heart so bad. I said she wasn't going to say nothing. But I want a public apology to my baby. That's what I want. Because I don't think it was right. I'm a mother. I don't know if you're a father, you're a mother, I don't know. And I don't even care. But I'm talking about mine. I want a public apology to these two right here because they're young. They looking up to us. We ain't looking up to them. They ain't never been our age. We done been their age. Right. And we go by doing things the wrong way. We going back to way back then, way before I was even born. Maybe look like maybe way before y'all was born. And y'all trying to bring all that stuff now. We trying to make the community better. Not just the community, but Douglas, Georgia itself better. And like this right here is just trying to make it even worse. Yes. And like I said, when I looked at it, I really don't want to look at it no more. I ain't gonna get on paper. I want to see it for myself. And as I read, I'm like, oh my God, are you serious? And that's not God. You don't put things in the paper, and then it got in the paper that y'all said that you don't know what the meeting was being said in the meeting. Then on the back it said something else totally different, like you was there at the meeting, you know what was said. Come on now. Either or. You don't know or you do know. And then you went to add in stuff that was not even said, was not even pertaining to the meeting. And that little thing about Larry Nesmith and Mr. Worthy, whatever they have, that ain't have nothing pertaining to the meeting, because the meeting was already being stopped. And that right there hadn't even, the fight or whatever hadn't even took place before the meeting was even stopped. The meeting was supposed to be stopped for what, September. Got canceled until this month. And I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed then for my daughter. She planned on film when she finished school this year, 2016. She was a senior. And I don't want no problem with her in school. I don't. She's a get along girl. She get along with everybody at her school, her teachers, everybody. When both of these kids right here walk in a public job and try to get a job, most likely they're gonna be interviewed by a white person. I don't want that white person to sit there and tell them, well, I seen y'all in the paper, and this right here what it said about y'all in the paper. That's wrong. That's wrong. I don't know who printed it. I don't care who printed it. But it's wrong. It's wrong. And like I said, I want a public apology to these kids.
You need a refresh.
I want a public apology.
And I'm very hurt today because memories are coming back to me. We came over with Bobby, my girlfriend and I, to the meeting. And Bobby has been with me through an incident that happened in Waycross, Georgia. October the 4th, 2015. 14, no, my son, 2013. Oh, God. Anyway, I'll just say that my son was murdered by the Waycross Police Department. He was shot 9 times in front of me, his 8-year-old daughter, and his wife-to-be. By 2 cops. They shot him in the head. He had his arms up. It hurts to talk about it. And I was invited to come to the meeting of the minds. And that was the first time that I had spoke publicly about what happened to my son. But I'm just going to say this, and he was a veteran. He had 2 daughters. Both of them were mixed. His wife-to-be was white. We lived in Michigan for 30 years, and we come back here, and they killed my son. My kids, my grandkids, would never see their father. My little 10-year-old and my 22-year-old would never see. He didn't live to see his girls grow up, especially the 10. I can't speak because after hearing the emotion of everyone here and how we are so hurt. Everyone is hurt. I've had 2 surgeries. I have a cane. I've had hip replacement. What I look like flipping. I don't have hate in my heart, even though my son was taken away from me, my only son. I have no hate in my heart for no one. I love everyone. I wouldn't hurt anyone. And to see this in the paper, to see this, I'm appalled. How dare you all? And I know it would seem like I would be the only one that would go get a gun and blow everybody's heads off. But I don't have hate in my heart. But I'm very hurt. Very hurt. There were other things I was going to say. But I can't say nothing. I'm too hurt right now. But may God have mercy on your soul. Because you're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. I want from my son.
I just want a public apology. And I have no feel no kind of way. I'm hurt. I have grandkids. I'm blessed. 64 years old. Can't hardly go. What I look like with a what they call that gun, a Glock. What am I do with that? Huh? I don't know how to use nothing like that. I don't want to hurt nobody. I don't want nobody to hurt me or my family or nobody. You know, it's just wrong. Just stand up. Just take ownership of what was done. And let's move on. I'm just hurt. I am.
You all have heard everybody speak and say about how hurt they are. And I'm just reminded of something I read that Dr. King had said, and I can't say it like he said it, but it basically says that it is better to be subjected to the judgment of your society. No. Let me change that. That's not what he said. It's wrong to turn away when you see a human being or an animal being mistreated and done wrong. In other words, injustice, and you turn away. So it's best that you just suffer the criticism or the judgment or whatever that you will get from your fellow folks in society than for the punishment that you'll get to your soul. So, and that's what we tried to do here. We tried to come to the aid of a community, not just ours. We were planning on going out abroad to help better the community. Help better the community, like they mentioned, the different drugs that kids get on. And I say all the time at the city council, we are losing our kids. We're losing our kids. So she and I talked when I had my surgery. She came to see me. I said, what can we do? What can we do? So we said we were going to have a meeting, start trying to implement educational programs, economic development programs, work with other ones that's an establishment to try to come up with ways to improve.
Find activities,
positivity. Right. That's where all this started from. That's where all of this started from. And then it get turned into that. But the word tells us before the time ends, people will not endure sound doctrine. And my God is revealing before us. We see it. But I plead with y'all. Please. I know this has been done, but please don't do something as treacherous as this again. And I know a lot of folks have asked for retractions and recantation. Well, I want to see that too. But when people see something and read something the first time, that's right, the damage is done. And I want y'all to read something, retract, like we cleared it up with you that you didn't understand quite what you thought you did, or however you put it. But the damage is done. And we've been having to explain. Everywhere I go, people stopping me. What's this? But like they said, God be with y'all. But I pray for you. This is just dangerous. Go ahead, Pastor.
I tell you one thing Martin Luther King did, Dr. Martin Luther King. He said that hate was as injurious to the object of hate as it is the subject of hate. But once it's stirred up, the people who do the hate and do the hurt, they get it right too. So I mean, the community is not made any better for it. Not made any better for it.
That's right.
Now that's what he said. So when people hate, they think they're doing something good. It's not even helping them.
It's not.
And since you said you didn't hear any feedback or you didn't acknowledge it, it's out there.
It is.
It's out there. It's out there. It comes back to us.
And some people have even said, not to cut you off, but that they called and asked the question about why was this printed. And then say, well, we wasn't going for the group. We were gunning for a Olivia Pearson, Bobby Worthy, Larry O'Hara, or whatever. Okay. Well, what I want to know is if that's who you were gunning for. I don't know what Mr. Worthy has done to you, and I don't know what Mr. O'Hara has done to you, but I know Olivia Pearson hasn't done a thing to either one of you. So I don't know why in the world you would be gunning for me. I don't understand. Is it because of hate in your heart towards me? I speak up, and I'm going to speak up. This is my calling. Because I'm telling you, when I got elected, I prayed about this thing. God gave me directions to go on this path. And he saw it fit for me to win someone who's been there 20-some years. Mr. Harry, Elisha Harry. But people voted me in. I didn't have any money to fight against Mr. Harry. We were church members. I love him. Love his family. Sidney, love all of them. But I obeyed God. And like I said before, nobody can tell any of you all that I've ever did anything racist to them. Ever. Ever. Because I got my heart to deal with. I stand up for what is right, whether you black, white, or other. That's what I do, and that's what I'm gonna do. So if it's that you all want to shed me, I'm sorry. I'll die first. I would die first, because I'm tired of seeing people mistreated. I'm tired of seeing the poor, the whatever, trodden on. I'm tired of it. This is my calling. This is my calling, whether I'm in office or not. My mission, my goal is to serve the people and stand up for what is right. And that's what I've done since I've been there.
I don't think it's fair, but I'm going to open up questions for the media. I don't think it's fair they got to ask y'all questions, so we're going to open up the media for one question to anyone of us, me, or anyone else. That way because we press the time right now. But I do want to say something I forgot to mention. I have spoken to my national chairman, Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, which is the black lawyer, is the national president for the Black Lawyers of Justice. He has this article. They are reviewing this, and I just want to bring it to your attention. There's laws that protect when you print children's pictures. Be advised, that's going to come up. What man, woman, or child, I'm not going to call no names, will put a child picture in the paper associated with something like this? He could have simply, easily cut that out. That shows you what kind of man he is, and I'm just going to be 100% real. What I want you to know, this has been sent to Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz, and let me explain to you who Dr. Malik Zulu Shabazz is. Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz is the one that filed the $60 million lawsuits for the citizens of Ferguson. Attorney Zulu Shabazz is the one that sued the Waycross Police Department for $12.5 million. Attorney Malik Zulu Shabazz is the national president for the Black Lawyers of Justice. And this is the type of cases that he loves. So once they make their decision, I promise you, Douglas Enterprise, get ready. I hope your country board attorney ready. We got the top of the lines attorney that don't take no prisoners. Understand that. And don't even do it for me. Do it for this baby you put in the picture. Apologize to his mother. Apologize to these people in here. Because there is no sense. I understand y'all print. Like I said, you can print whatever you want by me. I don't care. They talk about Jesus. This is my, like I said, when you talk about me, this is my crack cocaine. This is my high. Understand that. I love it. Understand that. And I'll go to hell toe-to-toe with the devil. Stand up for what I believe. And you can ask anybody. You can ask any police officer that know me. And they'll tell you the same thing. I'm going to open up the questions to the media. One question per media to any one of the counties. And then we're going to cut it up.
I have a question, and this question first is a question, but it's a comment. I want the panelists and all you who endured the publication of what's in the paper. I want you to know that don't be too hard on the media here in Douglas. Please don't be that hard on them. Because this is a statewide attempt to discredit black people. I'm asking you to go to Boston, G.B.R, and you will see what I'm talking about. Mayor Randy Whipperloo in Gorin, Georgia, they're doing the same thing. They're beating her down worse than anything you've ever didn't want to see. Please, Google that. So now my question is this. With the height that when I received the press release, I was going to go to Atlanta, but I had to be here. So my question is to you, Bobby Worth, or whoever. I'm going to ask a question and then I want a response. Did you all notify the TV stations in this area? Did you all just notify the people we see here today?
I notified all the local stations. Albany station did call me back and said they got the press release and it was supposed to be here. I don't know why they wasn't here. 2 Albany stations. And I did not notify the press. I didn't notify them, but they found out about it anyway. Like I said, my job was, at the agreement at the time, was that we weren't not even going to allow them to hear. But, and I thought about it with the panel, that wouldn't be fair because they are the local media, and you know, and we want them to print the truth and not print something about them. But what I did do is the meeting we had that they took this picture from, they did get that press release. Because you know that they said that in the paper. Now, did get that press release, but yet you still associated it with this.
Right. Okay.
So that you didn't print the truth.
My response to your response to my question is this: is that I want not only here in Douglas, but all these 15 cities and counties that I'm covering on my Boston G.B.R. YouTube channel. I want everybody to understand that it's written in the volume of sacred law, and ye shall know the truth, and that the truth shall set or make you free. Now, if that is true, and if the Georgia News Media Association, if the News Media Association, you know, the big media in the sky, and I'm a part of it, if we withhold truth from the American people, then I don't believe you're going to ever be free, based on what Jesus said. And so it's something that we all should keep in mind. And for the people who are standing up for the founding fathers of this great republic and love truth, all I can say to you, keep your torchlight burning, baby, because somewhere I read heaven and earth would pass away, but my word will stand forever.
One question, man. We got to get out of here. Y'all got no question? No. That's fine. All right, well, listen, this is what I want to do. In the media, I don't want y'all to leave. I want y'all to stay for this here. Let's stand in prayer all together. All right, y'all fine with that? All right. Brother, is that all right? Yeah. Lead us in prayer, man.
Everybody knows the Lord's Prayer? Everybody know the Lord's Prayer? Lord, let us repeat the Lord's Prayer. Let's go.
Let's go with you.
Okay, our Father, who art in heaven.
And looks low, and who has told me, you keep your hand in my hand, because I got you.
The American eye remained focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
Olivia, I want to thank you for being a warrior in the community. And I want to thank the God I serve for allowing me to start up the Get To Free Press.
Yes, sir.
And I say that because whenever you call me, I try to get over here. And mainly because I know what these wicked white folk will do.
Yes, sir.
Along with Uncle Tom's and
Yes,
Aunt
sir.
Jane Negro.
Yes, sir.
And so I believe in St. Matthew 24:35. Heaven and earth will pass away.
All right.
But truth gonna stand forever.
Yes, it will.
And regardless of what they have done to you,
Yes, sir.
the Madison, Florida 9,
Yes, sir.
the Equipment 10 plus
Yes.
2,
Yes.
Linda Harris and Meggs,
Yes.
Charles Gibson in Lumpkin, Georgia, Brother Rufus Davis in Camilla, and Warrington in Dawson that was shot 6 times,
Wow.
left in his yard for dead. The city manager put a hit on him. Clayton County, the brother over there, who stood before Secretary of State's office in Macon, and I was there, and I recorded the whole proceedings. Warrington Mayor, George Ivey,
Yes.
they treated him like dirt, walked out the meetings on him.
Wow.
Olivia Coley Pearson, that's you, but you have a sister that you may not have never met in Gordon, Georgia, who made history in 3 different ways, and that's Mary Ann Whippaloo.
Yes.
They took her through hell
Yes.
on the backside of heaven.
Yes, sir.
And so, and not to mention Davisboro, Georgia, Telfair County, Homerville, Georgia,
Yes.
Willacoochee, Georgia.
Yes. Yes.
All these places
All
that
of
I
them.
have been, and your local white-owned, white-dominated, and white-controlled newspapers have never connected the dots between all these places
Yes.
that I have been, and there are others because I'm just skimming the surface.
Yes, sir.
But I can't understand why Rachel Maddow, I can't understand why MSNBC, Dateline, 60 Minutes,
All
40
right.
Save Marvel, 3 Seconds,
Yes,
Al
sir.
Sharp and the rest of the crew won't connect the dots like we have done.
Yes.
Everybody talking about voter suppression and voter intimidation, but very few people, Stacey Abrams,
Okay.
nobody talking about these black elected officials who are elected to office, and then
Yes.
these people come out and give them hell trying to run them from office.
From
Ain't
office.
nobody talking about that.
That's right.
And
That's
that
right.
is very important.
Yes, sir.
And so Mary Ann Whippaloo can tell you something about that. Linda Harris can tell you something about that. The Equipment 10 plus 2. And it's amazing to me how many people have never heard of the Equipment 10 plus 2. And all this that I just mentioned was under Secretary of State Brian P. Kemp, who's the governor of the state of Georgia now.
Right.
And I do plan to put videos out there so people can see what took place under his tenure as Secretary of State here in the state of Georgia. So I'm going to be quiet.
The American I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
But I was so outdone this morning when I walked in there and saw them big old cameras and those big old lights that you were under today. And I couldn't film because it was exclusive, which I understand.
Yes, sir.
But I really was empowered to see that young lady ask you so many questions. And she said to me, and you give us the information down to the finest detail.
Yes.
And we'll see if we can't find somebody to come in here and bust this turtle open.
Yes.
And so that's what we're looking for.
Yes, sir.
We are looking for the righteous people in the press, not those who play games and suppress the truth. And when you suppress the truth from the American people, then you are fighting against God. Yes, and your arms are too short to fight against God, and you don't have no legs to carry you fast enough to get out of the way when he come after you. And then, like you said, with this young girl, Mr. whatever her name was, we bear witness that she wouldn't even let me go back their way the other local news media was going.
Right.
But we made her bring all the other news media members out. And we told the lady that today.
Yes, sir.
Made them come out because they wouldn't let me in.
want you
So
in.
when I demanded to go in and they let them others in, they was already back there.
Right.
But rather than let me go back there, they made the
them
rest.
leave out.
Yeah, you tell the story a little bit more about what happened to you that same night when you say you told them about counting the ballots, and we'll close this out.
The American American eye remain focused on Douglas and Coffee County, Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor, along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson, Black, plus much more, as you will see.
All Georgia County is now making big news tonight as new developments in its election data breach is coming to light.
11 Alive has now confirmed the G.B.R is opening a criminal investigation into an elections data breach in Coffee County after subpoenaed documents were released. Jeff Hellinger joining us now with where the case stands and the possible charges those involved could face here, Jeff.
According to reports from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, the AJC, the documents say one of former President Trump's attorneys paid $26,000 to an Atlanta-based tech company, Sullivan Strickland, to access voting information from machines in Coffee County. According to reports, Coffee County was targeted by President Trump's team, and his attorneys were given access to local election equipment by county officials there. The subpoena says the attorneys who visited Coffee County were also involved in election tampering in Michigan and Nevada. Two other battleground states just like Georgia. 11 Alive legal analyst Paige Pate breaks down the potential consequences the attorneys, the tech company, and possibly, just possibly, Coffee County election officials could be facing.
I think the most relevant potential crime would be removal of election information without proper authority during the course of the election process. There are several crimes in Georgia that deal with getting into the guts of these electronic voting machines and removing them or copying them or altering them in any way. And that punishment could be as low as a misdemeanor, or it can be a felony offense.
So the newly released subpoenas are sparking up conversations of 2020 alleged voter fraud once again. Here we go. Coming up tonight on 11 Alive News at 6, we hear from the Secretary of State's office and what this could mean for future Georgia elections. And we're right around the corner to November.
Yes, sir. So during that election, it was the municipal election, I think, of 2019 for the city of Douglas. There was a lot of things going on. There was accusations about people being paid to vote for certain candidates, so forth and so on. There were complaints made to the Secretary of State's office. To this date, the Secretary of State's office has not came forward with what their investigation revealed. But anyway, on that particular night, Mr. kept going into the back with the absentee ballots alone, which left room for a discrepancy to take place. She would go back there in the back with those absentee ballots. And I asked the question 2 or 3 times until I got an answer. Why is she keeping on going back there in the back with the absentee ballots alone? I asked that question. Finally, when I got an answer from the chairperson, Eric Cheney, his answer was, "You're not going to be interrogating us down here." And I said, I'm asking a legitimate question. Why is she continuing to go in the back alone with absentee ballots? Well, because he was aggravated and pissed off, he said this election counting is over. Everybody get out. They stopped the counting of those the votes for that night.
The American eye remain focused on Douglas and Coffee County, Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor, along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson, Black, plus much more, as you will see.
Olivia.
Yes, sir.
Is there any proof that what you said took place?
Yes, sir. There is proof. There was Get To Free Press at that voter counting for that night who was recording everything that took place.
And I bear witness that it is recorded.
Yes, sir.
And we know other news media record it, but they probably won't publish it. But I say to the people that know me, the people in all these cities, they know that I have a multitude of videos.
Yes.
And I've been filed my way in 3 states. I've been telling y'all that. And this is not a game. I filed it in 3 states just in case something happened to me. And not only that, but the people whose hands it in, they're not as kind as I am. And I believe
Okay.
they're going to bust it loose.
Okay.
If they bring it out, it's going to be brought out right.
Right.
And I'm telling you, 3 states, not 3
Yes, sir.
cities, 3 states,
Yes, sir.
I have them filed away for
Yes.
security reasons.
That's right.
Because I don't trust Satan and I don't trust his followers.
That's
at
right.
all.
The American I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
That's
At
right.
all.
That's right.
Olivia Coley Pearson, from the time I met you, I haven't known anything but a professional. I see you at the council meetings, and I see we have other blacks on the council, but they just sitting on the council. They ain't in it.
Yes, sir.
They ain't in it for the fight. They
Yes,
own
sir.
it, but they ain't
Yes,
in
sir.
it.
Yes, sir.
And I'm just saying, I ain't down on nobody,
Right.
but I'm talking about you because I know, I have seen it, I have recorded it. And the people who want the truth, they respect you for that.
Yes, sir.
This is what we need
Yes,
in
sir.
times like these.
Yes, sir.
As well as a news media outlet that gonna tell the truth. You see, when they fail, what they fail to realize is that when they fail to tell the truth, they're not setting anybody free.
Right.
What they're doing, they are enslaving themselves.
Enslaving.
They're making it hard for their own children and future generations, if not trying to bring about the destruction of this country as we know it.
Yes, sir.
And that's dangerous territory.
Dangerous territory.
And I'll tell anybody, y'all can say what you want about the United States of America, and I'm a retired military veteran, but the United States of America is the best nation that I know, faults and all, because she has some faults. But
Yes.
when it's all said and done,
Yes.
we came over here on slave ships
Yes, sir.
in the year 1555, and we didn't like it.
Yes.
But it seemed like to me God knew what he was doing.
Yes.
Because look
Yes.
what nation he put black folks over here, and they tell me that pretty soon we will no longer be the minority.
That's right.
But so God had a hand in that.
Yes.
So there's a great possibility God knew something that we didn't know.
Didn't know.
And God, when he did it, he knew that he was not going to put more on us than we could bear.
Yes,
So though we bear the whoop of the white man
Mhm.
and wicked black folk who joined them,
Yes, sir.
we overcame.
Yes.
You gave us Dr. King. We didn't listen to him. But Dr. God gave him a mission.
Yes.
And he completely took it far as he could.
Yes.
Just like Moses was given a mission,
Yes.
he took it far as he could.
Yes, preach.
That's why he said in the mountain, he said, he looked over, said, I'm not going to get there with you, Dr. King said.
Mhm.
But he said, well, I've seen the promised
Promised
land.
land.
Moses went up in the mountain, he said the same thing.
Yes,
He
sir.
said, I may not get there with you, but he looked over into the promised land, and God, no, you won't go over there.
Mhm.
But at least you got to look at
Got to see it.
And so I just want to say to you, Olivia, all the work that you have done,
Yes, sir.
it may not speak for you in this world.
Yes.
Because the people may not tell your story.
Yes, sir.
But in the end, I thank God.
Yes.
Because somebody is writing.
Yes, sir.
And as he wrote on the palace there with King Nebuchadnezzar,
Uh-huh.
that hand appeared on the wall.
Wow.
And he put down some writing that everybody couldn't understand. But the
Wow.
man of God was able to understand it and overstand it.
Yes.
And when he overstood it, he broke it down so common folk could understand it.
Yes, sir.
And so that's why I'm up here today. I want the world to understand that when God puts something in your heart,
Yes.
like he has put in your heart,
Yes.
there ain't nothing you can do but to do it.
But to do it.
He laid down your mother as a foundation.
Yes.
So you had a good, firm plantation
Yes.
to stand on.
Yes, sir.
And I commend you for standing up
Thank
as a real soldier.
Thank
And God bless you. May heaven be upon you. And I'm
Counsel, based on what the foreperson of the jury has just stated in court and the various notes we've received throughout the proceeding, at this point, does the defense consent to the court granting a mistrial in this case? Okay. Does the state consent to the court granting a mistrial in this case? gentleman, and I appreciate that, and I don't want us to run afoul, but I'm gonna ask you to poll the public, you know, if that's gonna end up on YouTube, or, man, I'm a flip phone guy, I don't even know anything about YouTube and all this stuff. Kids do, and I hear them tweeter and all this, but I'd ask you, sir, please don't display any of that stuff until the case has been resolved. Is that fair?
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I have been through this several times before. First of all, some judges have denied me the right to be in the courtroom because there was a possibility that that trial would come up again.
Right.
They had other people to come. So I fully understand that, and I approve of that. I have absolutely no problem with that. In other words, to you, Your Honor, based upon my many years of doing this, there's no way I would violate that court.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, have a nice day. With that, the court is adjourned. Everyone have a nice day.
The American Eye remained focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
And I'm going to let you close us out in your way.
I just want to thank God for putting me here. I want to thank God for being with me, because when those trials came, and as they came then, they will come again. My God spoke to me and told me, I am with you. You just do not give up. You hang in there, you fight this fight, because I'm with you and I'm going to bring you out. And sure enough, he did. And that first trial I went through,
Have mercy.
and that one young lady,
Woo.
that one young girl said not guilty.
What's your name?
Lanisha Armour.
Lanisha Armour. How you spell your first name?
Lanisha, Lenecia.
Last name?
Armour, Armour.
Where are you from?
Douglas, Georgia.
What are your educational level?
Finished high school, and that's pretty much it.
High school diploma. Okay. And I guess you received a notification or someone through the mail to do what as far as the jury selection, or you was in the pool of jurors, potential jurors, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you was selected.
Yes, sir.
How many was on your jury?
There was 14 and 2 alternates.
And 2 alternates, okay. How many blacks?
There were 3 blacks total, and only 2 served on the juror's case as deliberator.
So one of them was an alternate?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
1 alternate black and 1 alternate white.
Okay. Was there any Asians or other ethnic individuals on that particular jury?
Yes, sir. There was 1 Hispanic.
1 Hispanic, okay. Have you ever served on a jury before?
No, sir. That was my very first time.
Before we get into some of the questions, can you tell me a little bit about what you thought a jury would be in comparison to what it actually was after you was selected to be on it?
I more of thought a juror being, I know when you get back there, it's going to be, some where we're going to agree and some we're going to disagree. Mm-hmm. But when I got back there, it was just pointing of the fingers on your opinion. Like, it made people mad if you didn't side with them and if you stood up for what you felt like was right. And I had no idea it would be like that. It was on the first day after I left in tears because, it was just that bad.
When you say it was just that bad, you mean along the lines of dealing with the race?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. It started when I first got there.
Wait, excuse me. Just go and tell your story. Just go any way you wanted to. Tell us what actually happened when you was in that jury box.
Okay. Well, to start, when I first got there, I didn't do any research on the case. I went in with a clear mind and heart. So when I got there, of course, when I walked in the room, no one said good morning. That's fine. I'm a big believer in when you enter, you speak. So I sat down and I told everyone good morning. So after me, followed me was a white lady. When she come in, they spoke good morning. Following her was one of the black jurors, the alternate. No one said good morning. And following him was a white guy where everyone said good morning. So, I took that in consideration, but I still try to keep an open mind towards everything. So once we got back there, after hearing the trial, within 2 or 3 minutes of being back there, everyone had come up with a verdict. So when we knocked on the door for the bailiff clearly told us that we hadn't been in there long enough to deliberate to come up with a verdict. So when we first got back there and did the vote of guilty or not guilty, we did a hand vote. And I feel like by doing a hand vote, it caused a whole lot of confusion. Of course, at first I was 11-1 on both charges. I was the only one standing not guilty. And being that, they automatically started pointing the finger. So we went around the room deliberating, person by person. And when it got to me of saying not guilty, they wanted reasons of why. But we went around the room, and some people never stated why they felt guilty or not guilty. The Hispanic guy, to me, was clearly lost about everything that was going on. He didn't understand the concept of everything. On one vote, we wrote it on paper, and he didn't even understand what route we was going with that. So he never deliberated, never nothing. He automatically said guilty, and I felt like he was just following along with everyone else instead of speaking up for what he felt was right. With the deliberating, with the pointing of the finger, I felt like if we would have did it unanimously or anonymously or whatever, writing it down, I felt like that would have been a better decision to do. They told me that by me deliberating, they would have knew that it was me saying not guilty, but like I told her, you would have assumed, but you would have knew for sure. It would have never been facts. Me, basically, I just did what God placed on my heart and what I felt like was right. On the 2 counts, at first, when we first got there, everyone was saying 11-1. It was 11-1 saying guilty except for me. But after I gave my reasons on the first count, which was improper assistance, I persuaded 2 people to change their mind because clearly on the first charge, on the improper assistance, the witness stated that Ms. Pearson didn't touch her screen. She only showed her how to insert the card and read out directions on what was going on. So that right there was reasonable doubt of, I felt like she was innocent on it. The witness even stated that she didn't touch her screen or didn't, have anything to do with casting her vote. So on the second charge, I was the only one that still stood up for innocent, and I felt like because when Ms. Pearson took stand, she clearly stated that the signature obviously stated her name, but it was so much tampering with the paperwork and the signatures that it really didn't look like her writing. So that, again, was reasonable doubt on finding her innocent. Back there with the deliberating back to that, it was even till, of course, when we get back there, people are going to, get into it a little bit on why they feel guilty or not guilty. And being that I said not guilty, me and 2 of the ladies, we exchanged a couple words. So the very next morning of getting in the juror's room, starting back with deliberating, the foreman tried to slide off a note to the judges, basically trying to get me put out on one of the alternates put in because I wouldn't comply with what they said. He wrote a note to the judge without, clarifying or verifying anything with the rest of the jurors. Basically, the note said that I was confrontational and that I wasn't abiding by the law, which I feel like because I wouldn't side with them. He also made remarks about if 11 jurors are saying guilty, then 9 times out of 10, the 11 jurors are right. But from my understanding, I've seen many cases where people are wrongfully convicted and served 20, 30 years of time they can't get back because 12 jurors said guilty. It was a mess.
Mm-hmm. When the judge gave you some type of gave you all some kind of instruction to go back in.
Yes, sir.
How did you feel about that? Because when we was out in the audience, we had our interpretation of it. But how did you receive that as a juror when he told y'all to go back and do more deliberation?
I really felt like we were at a standstill. They were sticking what they felt like and believed in, and I was sticking with what I felt and believed in. So when we got back there, it was really, a moment of silence for a while until we started back deliberating, but it was more pressure coming to me because I felt not guilty. So they wanted more reason out of me. I gave them every reason, which I felt like was right, but I guess it wasn't enough because I wasn't saying guilty.
Do you think that some of the people that was on the jury possibly felt that they were being attacked, or there was confusion, or they feared, maybe their peers or the foreman or something like that? Or you wouldn't know?
Not really. If anyone felt like someone was coming for them, I felt like me. Especially what really made me feel like they were coming for me when the note was trying to be passed off. I felt like why only me had to be confrontational when it takes two to argue. So if it's two of us going back and forth, obviously I'm not the only one confrontational. And you know, one of the guys also made a remark. One of the older guys sitting next to me said that, well, if she don't want to comply, then we can get her switched out with one of the alternates to come in. And I told him the judge clearly said that if you weren't ill or if it wasn't a family emergency, which neither applied to me, then I wasn't going anywhere, that I was there to stay. That, you know, he would basically just have to get used to me sitting there.
Okay, first of all, I want to say that I really appreciate you stepping forward and shedding light on what many people would never know that goes on in the jury room. You are a young person, and I commend you for stepping forward, because too many black, white, Asians, and Americans in general have suffered, bled, and died for this country on foreign battlefields. And we do have a right to sit in front of a jury of our peers without being coerced or removed or intimidated or attacked behind closed doors of what they call the jury deliberation area. So I want you, if you can, to just tell me, why did you feel it necessary to call me to get this story out?
It needs to be heard. Behind those doors, I feel like a lot of masks come off. A lot of people already have their minds made up before you even get back to the room to deliberate. I mean, basically that's what happened. Everyone had in their minds and hearts what they were going to stick with by the time we got back there and before the deliberation. It's just, I feel like stand up for what you believe in. Whatever God placed on your heart, you follow your heart. No one wants to wrongfully convict someone who hasn't really done anything. I feel like it was just a situation made into a bigger situation.
Tell me a little bit about, you've talked about it, but sum it up in short review, the attitude and the professionalism or unprofessionalism of the jury foreman, because I believe he possibly was the most educated.
Yes, sir, he was. I mean, from the time we got in there, he was the main one talking, laughing, joking. Really, I felt like how he was chose it wasn't fair. You know, most people were leaning towards him. We never did a hand vote on the foreman who we chose. Most of them just decided, and that's what they went with. It wasn't a fair vote on who was going to pick for foreman. He did most of the talking for a lot of them with deliberating, with coming up like why he felt guilty, or he was also one of the main ones, had a lot of the stories confused or not really knowing what was what. I mean, me on the other hand, I took a lot of notes and I had to correct them on a lot of stuff that he was saying that they were wrong on.
How does it feel to be young and to go up against a professional person, possibly with a college degree, and you just said that you just finished high school? How does it feel to go up against that level of knowledge? Or supposedly be level of knowledge?
I didn't feel any type of way, really.
No intimidation. No intimidation.
No, not at all. Because when you stand on what you believe in, and human can't make you go left or right or choose, when you have a mind of your own, you'll always be able to stand up for yourself as long as you keep that attitude.
Okay, let's close this out, and I want you to close it out by stating once again, as I come to join you, I want you to state how long did it take you all, after all those hours, to reach a decision? How long did it take that jury?
Within the first 2 or 3 minutes with being in there, everyone had come up with a verdict.
And that verdict was what?
The very first time it was 11-1 on the first charge, 11-1 on the second charge, and by the end of trial, on the first charge it was 9-3, and on the second charge it was still 11-1.
And so it ended up being a mistrial based upon what?
That second count, 11-1. That one person standing up.
And who was that?
That was me.
Do you feel that you did the right thing?
I know I did.
Or you don't even think about it, you know it?
I know.
What's your name again?
Lanisha Armour.
Lanisha Armour, I want to tell you I appreciate you. May God bless you, my beautiful sister. And I hope that you can go to school and get your college degree, because a person like you, in my humble opinion, it would only complement what God has blessed you to have. And that's courage and the willpower to stand up for what is right under our form of government here in the United States of America. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And once again, this is the Get To Free Press. I want you all to Google Boston G.B.R. because if you think this is an isolated case, you got a long run to run. This is only a touch or peak of the pyramid of what whites, apparently along with some black people, are doing throughout the state of Georgia, the state of Florida. And I have been to New Orleans, and we see the same pattern and the same practice. Once again, to Get To Free Press, we report what others ignore. Peace out, and God bless.
And I went back to God because I wanted it to be over with then. And I said, God, you told me you was going to bring me out. And my God spoke to me and told me, and I am bringing you out. That one that was there, I put her there. You just don't give up. Those were God's words to me. You just don't give up. And sure enough, out of nowhere, Southern Center for Human Rights got in touch with me. They contacted me, telling me they had heard about my case. And when I asked me to meet with them, and I met with Miss Sarah Garrity that Sunday morning, I'll never forget it. And I carried her all of my documentation. And a few days later, she called me. She said, we want to take your case.
Amen.
I had no money.
The American I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
Got it to a whole nother county where folks didn't even know me. And they came back in 15 minutes with a unanimous not guilty verdict. Don't tell me what my God won't do. God told me you just stand fast. You stand fast and don't give up. I am with you. And that, Lord, I just can't thank him enough. God is real, my people. If y'all don't get anything else from me, y'all know that God is real. And as long as you be real for God, God is going to be there for you and watch out for you. And I've been standing up for what's right for all these years, thinking I was alone.
Amen.
But God let me know.
Oh,
you are not alone, my child. I am with you. And my mother told me before she died, I don't care if you have to stand by yourself. You stand for what's right.
Amen.
And God will see you through. And God is my witness. He'll see you through, my people. Don't be afraid. Stand on what's right.
The American I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
Joining us now to discuss the legal issues behind all this, Norm Eisen. He was a special counsel for the House Judiciary Committee in Trump's first impeachment trial. Norm, first of all, I wonder if you could clear up, but by law, who should have access to such offices and voting systems? I mean, is the law clear on this?
Jim, thanks for having me back. The law makes clear, and it's it starts with Georgia state law on computer trespass and computer invasion of privacy, Jim, that only authorized individuals are supposed to have access to this. So now that we have this surveillance footage, it raises a very serious question about whether unauthorized individuals got access to the data. There's also federal statutes that are involved. There's personal information, very sensitive on these systems. So this raises very serious legal issues.
Norm, we just heard Drew explaining to us, yes, there are these state-by-state investigations, but it's just not clear if DOJ is pursuing any broader investigation, that, right? They've gotten this state information, but there's been no response in return, as Drew said. When you talk about what the DA in Fulton County, Georgia, Fonnie Willis is doing in that, broadening criminal probe into efforts to overturn the 2020 election, how would this, also taking place in Georgia, in a different county, how might this impact that?
Well, Poppy, there's indications that some of the planning and execution of this event took place in using some of the contractors who may have been involved, took place within Fulton County, within Fonnie Willis's jurisdiction. So that allows her to investigate these matters. They're serious ones under Georgia law, and you see the same cast of characters. I thought it was so interesting that Miss Latham is also a fake elector. We know she's looking intensively at that. There's a grand jury in D.C., a federal grand jury that's looking at the fake electors. So this is already within Miss Willis's jurisdiction, and I would be very surprised if the federal authorities didn't also look under federal computer hacking, intrusion, and invasion statutes at whether there were federal issues here as well.
No, and there's the continuing question with all these cases as to whether the legal system is keeping up with this, right? And with what level of speed and seriousness. This is in Georgia, but as Drew made the point, similar access occurred in other states, which could point right to there being a broader plan, conspiracy, of which there's evidence, right? Because the president's comment, former president's comments, and so on. I mean, in your view, does it need to be a national investigation to some degree?
Jim, I think we've seen that with the work of the Georgia DA, there is a role for state investigators here. She's out in front of everyone investigating the alleged crimes committed by the former president and others involved with him. So while you need a strong state review, yes, there is a role for a federal investigation. We know there are multiple federal investigations going on. And I believe that the federal investigation, for example, into the fake electors, we know that exists. We know there's a grand jury. Because of the presence of a fake elector allegedly as part of this, and again, we have to note, her attorney says there was no wrongdoing. We'll see. Because of her presence, that federal grand jury could be expanded to include this, and probably should be.
Norm Eisen, thank you for helping us understand it.
Thanks, Poppy. Thanks, Jim.
And God is my witness. He'll see you through, my people. Don't be afraid. Stand on what's right. Sometimes you get a little weary and you get a little tired. Well, stand on what's right. And I just thank God for being in my life, for protecting me and keeping me and letting me know that He is God. Thank you, Mr. Ryan, for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, my beautiful sister. You are what make me do what I do. I meet so many black folk, they won't even carry a tear across the street. But I thank God for you and the other freedom fighters like you.
I remain focused on Douglas and Coffee. County Georgia Board of Elections Supervisor along with bogus voter fraud charges made against Douglas Commissioner Olivia Coley-Pearson, black, plus much more as you will see.
I want you to know black folk hate you for it now. They hate you because you're standing up.
Yes, sir.
They hate me for what I do.
Yes, sir.
But they don't understand that we have a greater calling.
Yes.
Our calling is from a divine force.
Yes, it is.
And they don't understand it.
Yes, it is.
That's why they hate. They think they hate us.
Right.
But they don't hate us. They hate God.
Yes.
That's who they hate.
Yes.
Because if anybody bring you the truth, 35th Psalm said, plead my cause, O Lord.
Yes.
and fight against them that fight
Yes.
against me.
I
Take
say-
hold of shield
I
and buckler
read it, I read it,
and
I read
stand
it.
up for my help.
Yes.
When the military was taking me through hell and damnation, I used to say that whole thing from memory, and that's what made it possible for me to get a check every month, because them wicked folk didn't want me to retire.
Yes, sir.
But God said, this is yours.
Yes.
You work for it. You earned
Yes.
it. And that's what I'm saying to you today, Olivia.
Yes, sir.
God said you done work for it.
Yes, sir.
People don't like you for it.
Yes, sir.
That's why I come over here. And anybody else that got the guts to stand up. Now, if you don't want to stand up, don't call me. You call somebody else.
Okay.
But don't call George Boston Ryan, because I ain't got room for you.
Okay.
I don't. I'm tired of knock knee bending black folk.
Yes, sir.
It's time to stand up
It's
for what
time.
is right.
It's time.
Don't just go to church and holler, hallelujah,
Okay.
hallelujah,
Yes.
and hallelujah.
Yes,
So
sir.
that don't get you nowhere.
Nowhere.
When you do all of that, and you come home, and you look on your dresser, your bills are still there.
Mm-hmm.
And so let us be about God work. And
Yes.
God work is beyond four walls of a church.
That's right.
I say to you all, I love y'all.
Yes.
And this is why I do what I do. This is why I'm hated. I'm up here in Douglas today, but I may be in Quitman tomorrow. I may be in Atlanta. No telling where I'll be at. But wherever I am,
Mm-hmm.
I hope to stand up outside of the church. Now, I ain't talking about in church.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want nobody to tell us, well, he sure testified and talked about how good God was,
Mm-hmm.
but didn't do nothing for God's children. Now, he was
That's
catching
right.
hell
That's right.
and going into jails and prisons.
Yes.
And being beat up by the police.
Yes.
And all I can say, oh, praise. No, I used to be that way.
Yes.
But one day I thank God because I fell on my way to the bus station, and I'll never go back down there again.
Yes, sir.
Olivia, again, as I close. Thank you so very much. And I want to thank the people who tune in live, and you who tune in live, you're special. Because the wicked don't want to hear this.
That's
When
right.
they go to this channel, they see me, they turn me off. But I want to say to you, I love you too. Bye-bye. We gone.
Uh-huh. Yo, if I had 100 sheep and one of them got away, I would leave the 99 and go find that one. That's right.
July 2010, this little town, when we stood up for what was right, save Shirley Sherrod, and we stood up for what was right when they tried to railroad Olivia Pearson.
Thank you. You guys did a great job. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come and briefly chat with us. Really doing it.
I thank you, man.
I thank you.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna look at that, but I thought it was my fifth one.
I just need a couple extra pictures.
Cut that out, cut that out, cut that one, cut that number out.
Y'all did a great job.
Yeah, that was terrible.
No, Alex, Shirley Sherrod came here and they fired her.
That was here in Douglas.
Andy, they fired her.
Here in Douglas.
Yeah, here it goes.
At your NAACP meeting?
At our banquet,
Freedom
banquet, the biggest event went.
Who took the video and
Johnny Wilkerson.
And Breitbart somehow purchased a copy of it from.
who's this Johnny person?
He does the video for the city of Douglas, our city council meetings.
They'll put you in touch with if you want to get a copy of it.
And she was fired. They doctored it up and they fired her. And she kept saying, look at the tape.
Or was it just on YouTube and he just took it off? I guess sometimes.
No.
It
No.
airs on TV around here.
Yeah, it airs on the local channel.
Yeah. So nothing's hid. We air
Right.
we air every word.
But they
I
spliced
think she
it.
made a joke that this white farmer came to her and that something that she could have said, I'm not going to help this white guy, but then she said, but of course I was going to.
And they took it out of context. Anderson Cooper. Anderson Cooper. In fact,
CNN. It was CNN.
In fact,
Somebody else
yeah.
chewing tobacco too.
Yeah.
But they came to her defense because they knew who she was and what she did.
Yes. And we went to the courtroom and stood with Miss Pearson, and there were a lot of blacks in this town afraid to outwardly support her.
Yes, that's true.
I guess they scared to lose
Are you
the
afraid
job.
you'll be
Chicken
next?
plant or the peanut. Well, you got a chicken plant here, peanut plant. What else?
PCC.
Yes, sir.
Mark Loudon Brown is an attorney for the Southern Center for Human Rights and represented Coley Pearson.
I don't know what the motive was, but it certainly, as an outsider, makes you think they're trying to send a message to people of color.
Governor have made it very purposeful that they will send the message that if you are African American and if you run for office and if you honestly win the election, you will be punished.
The prosecution changed the wording on the ballots to prosecute Lula Smart. The language was not there in 2010. They changed it on the ballot to make it look like she was guilty. The prosecution suppressed evidence.
Yes, sir.
They hid evidence.
Show they did. I'm a witness.
Show them. Speak it. Tell the truth.
I believe that we ought to demand, as concerned citizens,
Yes.
that they drop the charges on every remaining member.
Hurts me. My county commissioners, Mr. S.O. Jones, Mr. Joe Wingate, and Mr. Howard Lawson find nothing wrong with this. They find nothing wrong with this. How much can one community endure to have the right to have our votes cast and counted for who we want to represent us?
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right.
Falsified documents.
That's right.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand. Boone from the post office, who started this whole mess, lied on the stand. All to try to make these citizens look guilty.
David Miller, he was caught on perjury on the stand. You have the old voter registration lady, where she was taking ballots on the and once those ballots come in, those voters absentee ballots come in, they're supposed to be able to lock the key. You're not supposed to take it home. You can add a fourth person in there because she and her granddaughter helped them with it.
These people's names have been tarnished, their reputation besmirched. They have been talked about, accused of different things, and now they are proven innocent. How are you going to get the horse back in the... How will you restore these people good name and reputation?
This is the Ghetto Free Press, and I'm George Boston Rhines, and I just received the breaking news that we have a new mayor in Quitman, Georgia. Much like the Quitman 10+2, Nancy Dennard being the first president of the Brooks County Board of Education, and now we have African-American mayor of Quickman, Georgia.
The Georgia Bureau of Investigation lied on the stand.
That's right.
Falsified documents.
That's right.
The Secretary of State lied on the stand.
In the first trial, 3 of the prosecution key witnesses was all found, I ain't gonna say found guilty, was all 3 of them was guilty of something, one thing or another. You had the, what's his name, the district attorney here?
David Miller.
David Miller. He was caught on perjury. On the stand. You have the old voter registration lady. What she was doing, she was taking ballots home with her.
The post office.
And once those ballots come in, those voter absentee ballots come in the office, they're supposed to be up on the lock and key. You're not supposed to be taking them home. You can add a 4th person in there because she had her granddaughter helping her with it.
I ain't got no